shoe is better to hoop in? The Adidas Trae 1 or the Jordan Zion 1? If you can't tell, I left my Zion 1s at home today whenever I left to record, so just pretend it's over here somewhere. But today we're putting these two signature shoe lines head to head to see how they compare. But really quick, if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. So starting off with the box and the price, the Trae 1s are going to come in a white box with some text that says, always remember when they doubted you, and his signature is going to be underneath that. You know, that's just a mindset that he likes to keep whenever he plays. It's not the flashiest looking box, but you know, I guess it's better than just blowing up a player logo or something like that most shoes get. Before the Zion 1s, I mean, not much going on here either, with a split black and white box with some Zion text on both sides. And then as for pricing, the Trae 1s are going to retail for $140, which is a little bit on the higher end for a first signature shoe. Zion's first signature shoe is going to go $20 cheaper at $120, so still not a bad price point for both of these shoes to start off their lines. So looking at the appearance for these shoes and starting off with the colorways, today we're checking out the Adidas Trae 1 Ice Trae versus the Jordan Zion 1 Project Z. So looking at Trae's shoe first, this is the Ice Trae color scheme, and that is his nickname for anyone who doesn't know, because Trae Young is just cold-blooded. But you know, with that, you're going to get that icy polar bear on the heel, which is a pretty cool design. And this light blue upper is so nice. And I'm a Tar Heels fan, so I mean, that is always going to check out for me. And we actually did a really fun intro for this shoe whenever we reviewed it for the first time. So if you want to go and check that out after this video, of course. But some other nice touches are, you know, Trae Young's player logo shows up on the tongue for the right shoe, and I think it's a pretty sharp design. And then you have some patches over the laces that do remind me of like the Air Jordan 6. And obviously that's kind of cross branding there, but the shoe is also only going to get 2 lacing holes, not like the full lacing setup. But you know, Trae played a lot in the Adidas Next Level before getting his own shoe, and you know, that shoe has no laces, so I guess it's really not all that surprising. Then the midsole is going to have 3 loops. This sort of kind of reminds me of the Adidas Trefoil logo. I'm not sure if that was like meant to be tied into the design or not, but a clean look for sure on this shoe. And then now switching it over to the Zion 1s, this is his first signature shoe with Jordan Brand, and I think they came out really well. On the side of the upper, you're going to get like a black line that breaks up the design from the front to the back. And that's actually meant to be the letter Z for his first initial, which is like just a cool minor detail that they added. And then along the heel, you're going to see some Zion text that shows up from the box. And I just really like the font that they use for that too. And then you're going to get like a mismatched tongue setup with the Jumpman logo on the right shoe, kind of followed by Zion's player logo on the left. And then the last piece that I'll touch on is Zion was like really big into superheroes growing up. So the tongue kind of flares out and it's meant to resemble a cape. So I just really like those small personal pieces that they put into signature shoe lines. But now let's go ahead and see how both of these shoes hold up on the court. For the materials and the support, the Trae 1 is going to get some higher quality or like some premium touches on this shoe. You're going to get some suede-like materials that show up on those blue overlays. You're going to see it like above the midsole, kind of up near the toe box, around the heel, and then on that patch that kind of covers the laces too. You know, some people like that stuff and other people, you know, just don't need it. And that can be part of the reason that shoes do get a little bit more of an expensive, you know, price tag to it. Because like I was saying, this is one of the higher price shoes for a first shoe starting off a signature line. I think that maybe only Kawhi's line started higher at 160 with New Balance, but the textiles are going to make up the rest of the upper. And then for support, you know, like I said, you're only going to get those 2 lacing holes on the shoe. It's more of a sock-like fit with kind of the tongue built into the shoe model. So, I mean, the support, it definitely could be better. I haven't really struggled with like any heel slippage though, which is nice, but you can also tell with this being a low top that and kind of lacking that traditional lacing setup, the support's just not going to be one of the highlights on this shoe. But the midsole does run up a little bit within the shoe and helps with the lateral containment somewhat, so that part is going to be nice. But now switching it over to the Zion 1s, a little bit surprised at how thin the upper feels on this Zion's first shoe. I mean, to be honest, if you know who Zion is, kind of what he looks like and what he plays like, I'm just surprised that, you know, they didn't throw like straps on here to reinforce the upper, you know, even just a little bit. It's mainly just going to be textiles with a suede-like feel to that black part of the shoe, but you know, not all Zions had that feeling. But the thin upper doesn't really affect the support on these, which is nice. And the Zion 1 does have a noticeable outrigger that kind of acts like a brace. You can see it. It almost looks like a wing hanging off from the side of the shoe. And that's just going to act like a brace to keep your foot within the design. It's just going to give you a little extra balance as well. Because if you remember, he did blow out of the PG 2.5s in college. So I'm really just not surprised that they threw that piece on there for a little extra security. But now looking at the weight for these, I mean, the Trae 1 is going to weigh 442 grams, which is going to be pretty light. You know, it's definitely not heavy or anything like that. But the Zion 1 is going to be significantly lighter, all the way down at 396 grams for the same size. So both of these shoes are pretty easy to move around in, especially the Zion 1, which is definitely nice. So now getting into more of the materials and the performance side, and starting off with the cushioning. Again, just pretend we got the Zion 1 sitting somewhere right over here, but that is definitely going to be the selling point for the Trae Young 1. They're going to get a traditional light strike midsole that is going to be paired with some additional boost cushioning in like a hockey puck form that's kind of positioned in the back half of the shoe, kind of underneath the heel, and that adds to an already soft feel on this model. The cushioning is likely part of the reason that these did get a higher retail price, and these are going to give you a really balanced just cushioning setup throughout, and it offers a soft feel to play in. And then now looking at these Zion 1s, these are going to get a full-length air strobel unit that is going to be stitched directly into the upper to sit right underneath your foot to offer a cloud-like feel. And you're going to get an additional energy returning zoom air unit that's going to be stacked underneath the forefoot to add an extra burst of responsiveness. And they do give you a nice and springy feel to play in, and there definitely doesn't seem like there's a weakness on the shoe, even with most of that cushioning kind of being focused in the front half of the shoe. It's not going to be as soft as the Trae Young 1 from what I've noticed, but it is still nice to move around it. To finish off with traction, the Trae Young 1 has a pretty ideal traction pattern setup with the herringbone in the front half, then you got that radial pattern in the back, but they just don't really perform up to the standards that I was definitely expecting or hoping. Normally those designs, they play really well, but these just collect dust too easily and they don't have a ton of grip in general, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But switching it over to the Zion 1s, this is his first shoe, so I will be interested to see just kind of what they do going forward, because just like the Trae Young 1, I'm not going to be in love with how that Zion 1 plays, just as far as the traction, but it still is going to be a playable model, just not as sticky as I would like it to be. That goes for kind of both shoes here. But to finish off with sizing, I did go true to size on both, and that worked out perfect for me. The length is good on both models, same thing with the width. The Trae Young 1 is a little bit wider than the Zion 1 though. So for the final ratings and starting off with the appearance, both of these shoes are pretty clean for the first design, but I'm just really big on how the Trae Young 1 turned out, so I'm going to start off going there. For cushioning, the Zion 1 does feel nice, mostly in the forefoot, but the Trae Young 1 is just packed with all kinds of cushioning features, and it offers a really soft feel, so I'm going to stay with Trae Young 1's line here. And then for materials, nothing really special is added to the Zion 1, so yet again, I am going to go with the Trae Young 1 since they got more of those premium touches on there. But as for the support, that is an area that the Trae Young 1, it just can't really score all that well in, being a low top shoe without like that full lacing setup. And then the Zion 1 is going to have an outrigger to help balance and just an overall nice feel, so the Zion 1 is going to get on the board for the support section. But to finish off with traction, I'm actually just going to go with a tie here. Unfortunately, neither one of these shoes was really able to separate, and they're just not that special in that category. Hopefully that kind of gets sorted out a little bit better on their second shoe, but that is going to lead to me going with the Trae Young 1 as the better shoe to play in. And I will say this, even though it may not look like it, it is actually pretty close, and I don't really factor in the appearance to my final rating. Like for the performance, I just like to throw that in there, but it's all going to kind of come down to your style of play and how you want your shoe to feel, because if cushion is important, then I would definitely it would just make the most sense to go with the Trae Young 1. But if you need something that offers more support, I would ditch the Trae Young 1, maybe look more at the Zion 1, comparatively, of course. There are going to be some better options out there for you, but altogether, two pretty solid models that I am a fan of, and I'm sure they'll keep getting better. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you want to buy the Adidas Trae Young 1, just click the link on screen, or we have links to both shoes down below or in our bio, so feel free to check that out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoeware. Peace.